What's up, Mikey? Oh, can you hear me, bro? Oh, no, wait. I muted you. Oh, there we go. I muted you.
Are we online?
We are. We're taking, bro.
I'm good, brother. I'm good. How are you? How you feeling, man?
I'm feeling fucking great, man. I'm feeling really good. I'm surprisingly, peppy.
Yeah. I got some good sleep last night, so I'm refreshed. Emotionally, though. That was a lot yesterday. My God.
It was a lot. It was so damn much. Before we get started, I want to say hey to everyone in the chat. Audrey's here. And she has some really nice words about the big phone home. She literally had just stumbled upon it. She's like, we need this. I love it. So great.
That's amazing.
It's people like Audrey that make it rad. Amazing job yesterday. Thank you for putting this together. You're welcome, Moose. Eduardo's here. Who is it going to be on the panel today? Stick around, you never know. Yes, Jeremy, there is more. I got your message. Unfortunately got to put a bunch of people up. Don't worry, bro. We're gonna get together. We're gonna have a whole show. We're gonna talk about all your research.
Yeah, he's got a whole presentation that he's
we got deliver, a whole presentation.
That's a whole nother show, I think.
It's a whole nother show for sure. So when is Lou going on? I'm assuming Lou Elizondo, because Lou's always on this channel. There's always a Lou on this channel.
Always a Lou.
Always a Lou. Are you on, Jeremy? No, Jeremy's not on today. But Jeremy will definitely be on in the future. Don't sweat it. Debbie Sims, does anyone know the timestamp for Deep's remarks?
That's what I wanted to talk to you about as well for the SEO. I want to go back and do a summary of every individual and have a timestamp so people can find them. Yeah. Yes.
That's a great idea, man. That's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
That's 8 hours.
You know what's beautiful about this community, Louis?
What's that?
We can crowdsource. So we can find somebody who's listening, who's so amazing and loved the big phone home so much that they're willing to go back and timestamp who came on when. And we're gonna do it regardless, but I would if somebody out there would like to pitch in.
All they would have to do is tweet us the timestamps.
All they
message me, or can they whatever. Can they put the timestamp in there themselves?
No,
I don't know. I've never done that. Probably not.
No. All they have to do, and they can actually reach out to, if anybody wants to do it, you can send them my way and I can show them exactly how it's done. It's super easy. All you got to do is create a Google Doc. And in that Google Doc, just like 0.0:05 is this when this person comes in, and this is when this person, and it's just a giant list, and then we'll just drop it right into the description and in YouTube. But it's critical. We got to do that. We have to. Yeah, no,
I agree with you. I think that's a wonderful point. So thank you for pointing that out, Debbie, because that's what sort of the first half of the show is going to be about is how to make sure that these two big live streams are as available and as easy to find.
Zignal just said he's on it. Zignal just said he's on it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Also, Zignal, if you want, because I've also been asked to find the best sound bites and narrow them down to 30-second clips. So if you want to maybe head that up to, that would be great. And I can edit those. Just give me the time frames. I'll put them together. But that would help because that would save Michael and I a lot of extra work, and that means more live streams for you guys, more content for you guys. If I don't have to go back and do that stuff, that means we could come and hang out more. So
that's it, bro.
If you want to open source this, please do. Clearly, we've recovered. We're here. We're here. We're live. So thank you all so much for this important. Thank you all so much for this important. I feel better in the background right now. Thank you. You fuck. Is that, man? I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Ufuk. Ufuk. Well, I'm talking about the first name.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right. Look, I'm sorry if I fucked up that name.
I think that should be a standard thing. If we should let's both apologize now for fucking up people's names.
Yeah. That's gonna be a given. Max is here. What's happening, Max? We got Max gonna be coming on the show, and he's also got some great news. If I've got some time, I'll try and share it on the stream.
Do you remember how to pronounce his last name?
No, I don't want to fuck that up, dude. I've already fucked up.
Remember, it's like
Moskowitz. Very good. There we go, Moskowitz. I just didn't, after that was a lot of pressure. That was a lot of pressure. You just put me under there, Michael.
You did great, though.
Thank you. I do appreciate it. Okay, so God, what the hell was I talking about? So yeah, Max's articles got picked up by a really big newspaper in Denmark, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on the country that it got picked up in, but he was really excited. I didn't get to read through everything he messaged me because I was setting this up. But yeah, go show Max some love. He's got a YouTube channel. Max, do me a favor, throw your YouTube link in the comments so people could go check you out. Ethereal Aura, you're always here, and we love that you're always here. So thank you for being here. Muskoka J, what an awesome event yesterday. Great conversations. Keep it real. Yeah, I love that, man. I think here, want to know something, Michael? Let me just show everybody. And I thought, because you don't get a lot of this kind of consensus on almost anything nowadays. I wanted to just show real quickly. God, I'm shaking my legs, and I feel like that's shaking everything on the desk here.
No, it looks fine.
Okay. So
look at that. That's great.
This is insane. So we had 8,500 views on that first stream, and 6,500 almost on the second stream. But the thing that I really found just wonderful about this, let me click the YouTube actual link, is 293 likes to 12 dislikes. By the way, it's gonna be 294. I just popped mine in there.
That's a killer ratio.
That's a killer ratio, dude. Like, I think we're doing something right if that's the ratio we're doing. For the 12 people out there that are hating, let them hate. There's always gonna be haters, man. There's always gonna be a small.
Dude, did you see the guy? I can't remember the guy's name in the chat yesterday. It was during, I think, the first 4 hours, like towards the end of the first 4 hours, and he was just like ripping us, like in all caps, just like constantly. I think my mom even was like, "Who is this guy?"
Yeah. Well, okay. So because Strafe is such a man, I can tell you. My girlfriend even agrees. She's like, he's the cutest. Strafe Wilson is my little rosy cheek little gnome. He's in the chat, and we're not gonna go into this today because I've already determined I'm a little too emotional to talk about this, and I don't want to say things before people have had a chance to respond. So wow, Mark O'Connell's throwing a real childish tantrum over yesterday's initiative, acting like a spoiled teenager. Not my words; those are Strafe's. I'm going to address this if I don't hear anything in the next couple of days. But I don't know if I even want to add fuel to this negativity fire. I've reached out to Mark. I've reached out to Mick West. I've apologized, and I've also asked their opinions on both. I can tell you one side, the side that whose opinion should be taken over everybody's, has no problem with what we said yesterday. So take that for what it's worth. Again, I'm still waiting to hear back from some people. And if there is a reason for me that I think I need to publicly apologize to anyone, I'll do that. I've got no problem saying I'm sorry if I'm wrong. I've said that a million times on the show. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay to fix mistakes when you make them. So just, it's just when you dig your heels in and keep going. So I kind of addressed it, but that's probably the last I'll be talking about it today. So, no, thank you, Max. Yesterday was amazing, but exhausting for you.
I will tell you, I heard that from a lot of people that were like, I'm exhausted for you guys. Like I feel tired from watching you guys.
I think, well, Michelle said that the biggest thing that people were asking about in the chat was the bathroom breaks. When are they taking bathroom breaks? I bet Lou has a jug under the desk. Like I think I only peed 3 times yesterday during the stream, maybe twice. I could hold.
I definitely. I was like 4 times. I was like,
yeah. No, I was fine, dude. And that's another thing, man. God. Can we have a moment to toot our own horn here? Like a little beep beep. Dude, I'll allow it. Dude, it was flawless, man. That was as awesome. Flawless of a show that I could have asked for. I mean, the expectations were so low for me because that's what I like to do. I like to set the expectations as low as possible. So that way when you exceed them, it feels really, really good. And damn, dude, I was just on cloud 9. But you know what was hilarious? I was like, bro, we could go through 12 hours. I meant that. I could have easily done 12 hours. But what was so visceral for me is as soon as you logged out As soon as I hit end broadcast, as soon as I shut off the microphone, it hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It like I was just exhausted.
Yeah. So I actually went out to dinner with the family like right after that.
I know you did.
And I was like, you guys, I just want you to know I'm probably just going to sit at the table and like I'm not going to say a word. I'm just going to eat my food. But I'll tell you what, I got there and I was like, I was like riding that high.
Yeah, man. Dude, it was a high, man. I was just sitting there on my couch tweeting and retweeting and tweeting and retweeting and retweeting and retweeting, just looking at all the love that we got throughout the whole day. I was just trying to retweet everyone. But the one thing that I found just absolutely mind-blowing, so mind-blowing, as a matter of fact, I pinned it on my Twitter. And I wanted to show everyone this. And by the way, this comes from I don't know if it's a gentleman, but the account is Cardinal Strategies. And he wrote, at Los Angeles, congratulations on the big phone home, was a total success. It looks like the total reach was 1.3 million people. And I'm looking, I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? What does that mean? Right. So let's click it. Because I'm looking at, how many views we had. That's where I'm at. I'm like, between the two streams, we did about 13,000 views. And here's the facts. We know a lot of government officials were watching that stream yesterday. I can tell you that, guaranteed. But what I found, I was blown away when I saw this. So we had 500 mentions with the hashtag analysis, I guess, this thing does.
Is that just yesterday?
I don't know. Okay. I don't know if this is just yesterday or the entire thing. I would say
that's probably just I don't know. I
don't know. It's a good question. Anyway, I don't know if we had 6,500 shares yesterday.
Maybe of the mentions, which actually all makes sense. And then the 1.3 million reach, that's basically impressions. That's just somebody may not have interacted with it, may have scrolled right past it, but it got in front of their eyeballs.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, which is another reason to consider not changing the name next year.
Right. Because we've already nailed it.
We've already got name recognition. You build something, and that's how you get people to come back, and that's how we build the momentum and the energy behind it.
Right. I agree, dude. I think this is incredible. It was so incredible. Sean Cahill was blown away by it. I'm like,
dude, that guy's so cool.
He's so damn cool. But I was just like, it impresses him because I don't feel like he's a very easily impressed dude, and he retweeted that, when I posted. I was like, damn, dude, that is cool. So let's get Cristina in here. She just popped in. Hey there, lady friend.
Guys. Hey, look, Michael. We're again black and glasses. Dude, we gotta stop.
Cristina, you're either sneaky funny or this is just a sheer coincidence.
But that's two in a row. Yesterday we did the same thing.
I was gonna say, I think it would be way better if she watched the stream. She goes, okay, what's Michael wearing? And then she put on a black shirt, put on some glasses, and then popped into the stream. To me, that would have been way more impressive than the serendipitousness of you guys just wearing the same thing. So what is it? What is it, Gomez?
The serendipity is kind of sweet too, though.
Yeah, it is, but
I agree.
Wait, what part do you agree with?
All of it?
Oh, she is. You should be in politics, not in this.
No,
not in this madness.
She is, but she can turn a troll on a dime, bro.
On a dime. I might sick you on some trolls later in the week there, Miss Gomez. Okay, so let's talk before everyone starts hopping in here, because I know Cristina is an SEO expert. I don't want to reveal too many secrets, but I know the lady knows what she's doing. So Cristina, we had talked about, I shortened the hashtags like you mentioned. I got them down to 25. And then Michael also, someone mentioned in the chat, which was a phenomenal idea. And we're crowdsourcing it, which is even better because we get to not have to do it. We got Signal doing it right now. We're going to start timestamping everyone's guests. So that way you can timestamp, and that'll be a really easy way to find the people you like. Or if you want to go back to a conversation, you don't have to scroll through it. Like, for example, I was trying to find, the moment when we apparently really offended McWest, and I was having a hard time finding it because it's a fucking 4-hour live stream. But with that said, what other things do you think we can improve on? I know we wanted to write a description. So while you guys are talking, I'm gonna sort of use the Big Phone Home description and pop it in there. The gathering of journalists, professionals, blah blah blah. So while I'm doing that, maybe you guys can, I don't know, chit chat about some strategies, some other things maybe we could do.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So I mean, the biggest one is hashtags, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
and do you think we've got? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Michael. Sorry.
I was just curious. Of the hashtags he had, you just wanted to cut it. You thought they should be cut down, right? There's just way too many.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, there was because I didn't know. I think maybe in the earlier YouTube algorithms, it was all about the hashtags. But what I did is I think I had like 80 hashtags in there, and I got them down to 20. I got them down to 25. So that's good. I mean, what do you think? Let me ask you this, Cristina. What are your favorite hashtags to use? I mean, I've got is this YouTube tracker app on my phone, and it's got a little function where you could put an SEO. It says SEO, but you could put in a keyword. So my keyword that I use obviously is UFO, and then it'll give you every single hashtag that is the most at the top, the most popular one, and it works all its way down. So like the most popular ones, I can look it up now, and then maybe we can compare. The most popular one, according to this thing, go on.
Michael, I'm not Michael, sorry. Luis Jimenez, as some people like to say. I love it. It makes me laugh every single time. But yeah, so when it comes to hashtags, the more you put, the more ambiguous the video becomes. So it's like not really something I would do. But I think that I've already told you guys beforehand is what you should be doing. There's nothing more, nothing less.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, so when I put in UFOs, the top four are UFOs, obviously. The second is, are UFOs real? And then the third is UFOs 2021. Maybe I'm looking at this wrong. Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah, UFOs 2021, and then UFOs in Argentina, and then everything else is below that. And you got like UFOs caught on tape, UFOs on the moon, UFOs caught on camera, all that, all these crazy things. But what I tried to put in there is like, UAP. I mean, you can take a look at it. Let me see. Let me know if there's anything you change in there. I'm actually in there right now. I can tell you.
So the other thing is, and this is what Cristina points out in her doc, is that if you try to get as many of the keywords that people are going to be searching for the Big Phone Home naturally in the description within the first 100 words of the description. So as you're writing that description, getting like things that you think based on the keywords and the hashtags, people might be searching for in that description. So obviously, if you want to name some of the bigger players in that first 100 words, that's a good idea because people are searching for those.
And the biggest thing when it comes to hashtags, you want to make them as accurate as possible. The more general, the more your video will get lost. So it's important. Hey, Jazz. It is so good to see you.
There's the man who stole the show.
Just for the record, I am not dressing up for this. I've got a t-shirt on. I've been doing work around the house. I apologize. But you were nice enough to do this, so I wanted to jump in because I got so much feedback from the Big Phone Home that I was flooded.
Really? Oh, I can't wait to hear it.
Between emails, direct messages, just so much stuff. And I kind of felt guilty and bad about it because there were quite a few people who reached out and contacted me and said things like, hey, I did my part, and I called these senators and this congressperson, and thanks for doing this. And that was great.
That's awesome.
I really appreciated it because I follow it. Like everybody that comes along in UFO Twitter and somebody flags them for me, I follow them. I may never hear from them personally, but I follow them. So my DMs are available to them and my email's available on our corporate website, so I'm not hard to find. So I'm just getting all this feedback. And a bunch of it was stuff like that, which was very gratifying. And the credit goes to you guys entirely for organizing that. But I think there were actually more people sending me pictures of dolphins than there were talking about the actual big phone home. And I was like, oh, man, why did you do that? You broke the whole rule. Why did you distracting from the show?
I was doing this. I was pulling up dolphin sounds as you were talking. Sorry about that,
yeah,
Jazz. I couldn't help it. It was just, it was amazing.
Jazz, honestly,
even though my theory is scientifically more valid than most of the rest of them and absolutely plausible, that wasn't what we were supposed to be doing yesterday. We could discuss, the reality of UFOs anytime we want to. But yesterday was about moving the ball forward. And I think my highly valid scientific theory kind of detracted from that.
I disagree completely. I think there was two purposes of yesterday's show. One was to entertain people and to get them excited about doing Purpose 2, which is exactly what you said, to get them to call the representative. So I think it was great. I think the levity that you brought to the show, the dolphin conversation, just made it fun, and it kept people sticking around. And then we sent them to go do their jobs, which they did, and I'm very impressed.
Yeah, I would also back that up, Jazz. It's 8 hours of we can't fill every second of 8 hours with pure, factual, groundbreaking information that is serious the whole time. Like, come on.
Well, wait.
That's not who I am.
The dolphin conversation was pure and factual. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it just didn't involve calling senators and things.
They're here for the fish.
Purely factual conversation. It was a different thing.
Again, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a great moment. I think it's moments like that help things go viral, Jazz. So
I agree.
To me, it's all good. But before we continue, look who we have in the first time on the show.
Hey, UFO Jane.
We tried to get her yesterday. Hi, UFO Jane. How are you? Oh, I know she's on Wi-Fi.
Oh no.
Oh, she might be locking up.
Hi, I'm good. Are you? It's kind of.
Let's wait for her to hear that. We lost her. Yeah, she's got to be on Wi-Fi. I had a feeling that was going to happen, but that's okay. UFO Jane's going to be back. Let's see if we can get back sometime through the show. I'll try until we get it. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. We'll get her for the next show without a doubt.
We need a strong female presence for this, and Cristina cannot carry it by herself. She probably could, but we need more.
Come on, Jess. Come on.
Yeah,
we need more.
Derek says grays are future walking dolphins.
Hey, what? I missed that.
You know what? I haven't
gray
taken it
aliens.
That far, but yeah, sure.
Why not?
Makes sense.
That absolutely could be.
Okay. So I've written a description in the first video. So what else do you guys think I should add? Sorry, just to get back to this.
It's okay. Just again, I think you should add in the description, in the first 100 words,
names
in the first paragraph, the names Corbell.
Okay.
You want Brandon Fugel.
Okay. Gotcha.
You want
Richard
anybody?
Dolan.
Yes,
Yeah.
Richard
Jimmy
Dolan,
Church.
Steve Bassett. What a day!
What a day!
Insane. And then you had your dad, Louise, and that was another highlight right there.
Dude, Dad was the most popular part of the show. Like, people were screaming for more of my father. I was like, what's going on here? I think you know what? There's a very popular sportscaster I listen to in Miami, and he actually had a show on ESPN with his father, and it was amazing, to see this old man who has no idea about sports commenting on the most professional athletes on the planet, so it's a really fun and it's on ESPN, it's like, how did this show get approved? But I think people loved it because they always love seeing that relationship between, father and son. Those are always fun things. But this is I don't know if you guys have met Andrew Hall, but we got Andrew Hall here with us. Andrew, what's happening, bud?
Oh, am I on? Sorry.
Yeah, you're on. Yeah, you're on. Did you mean
Welcome,
did you mean to come in here, Andrew?
Yeah, I did. I was listening to you talk while I was doing some other stuff.
Okay.
We're live, right?
He was like me. He was trying to order Taco Bell and hit the wrong link. It's like, hello, I wanted fries.
How are you, Jazz? You and I are going to get together soon. Christina, nice to meet you.
We've been talking offline, so I appreciate that.
Andrew Hall's got a really fun channel called Dead Hand Radio. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. He's probably one of the calmest voices I've ever heard on this topic, which I really, really love. And I actually hopped onto his live stream last night. I felt bad because I wanted Andrew at the event, and it was my fault. I just straight up forgot.
Lou, I will never forgive you, man. You left me out of the lineup, brother. But no, man, it was good. It was a huge day for you and
Andrew,
for everybody that was involved.
Where are you from, Andrew?
California originally. I live in Las Vegas.
Oh, wow, because you have a really southern accent. I was like, wow, you sound like some of my relatives. Okay.
Never been told I have a southern accent.
Well, I'm speaking dolphin, so the interpretation is a little different.
I've heard about this dolphin incident, man. What is that all about? Because I missed that part of the live stream yesterday. I was in and out all day, but
I explained that if you eventually cut open a Tic Tac, you're going to find that it's full of salt water. And there's a dolphin in there wearing a telekinetic helmet at the controls because the UFOs are not American or Russian or Chinese. They're not aliens. It's dolphins. They're sneaky. They have huge brains. They're really nasty.
Who's got that
very
dolphin noise going on?
There are dolphins constantly trying to have sex with human females. They're really nasty. They're a national security threat.
Wow.
And they have spacecraft. So, case closed. Really.
Yeah.
What was that date that you and I scheduled for you coming on my show?
It's on my calendar. I don't have it in front of me, but
yeah, we're gonna have to reschedule maybe.
Are you busy? You're washing your hair that day?
I'm gonna be busy that day, whatever day that is. No, I look forward to having a conversation.
I love it, man. I love this. All of us are in here together, and we got Graeme in here. So
what's up, Graeme?
How you doing?
Making my life and my job so much easier.
I've just come in halfway into a conversation about sex with dolphins. I thought I was in the wrong stream.
You may well indeed be in the wrong stream. Man. Yeah.
No,
is this the kind of thing you're going to pay for? Is one of those late night shows?
This is the only place you're going to hear a conversation about that. That's
just put the kids to bed. That's all I ask. Welcome, Graeme. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I've recovered after yesterday, and it's great to see everybody again. Hello, Andrew. Nice to see you again.
Yeah, nice to see you too, Graeme.
Christina, Michael. Hey, how are you guys? So, I just want to come on for a couple of minutes and just say thank you very much again for the opportunity to be part of yesterday. It was just so much fun, and seeing everybody pulling in the same direction. It was truly inspiring.
Yeah, I think we had a great day. I think.
Oh my God, Ben Shapiro is in the chat.
Ben Shapiro?
No way.
Unless it's somebody hoaxing him. That I just saw the name go.
Where
by.
do you see that?
I'll check it out in a second. I just wanted to say
it is. Hey Ben.
UFO Jane.
Thanks.
UFO Jane wrote in. Sorry about the Wi-Fi issue, guys. Thanks for the invite, though. Great convo. I, for one, am okay with an alien dolphin conversation, Jazz. So you got her blessing. Let's see here. Very good material on disinformation, Dead Hand Radio, French translation coming soon. Wait, where is Ben Shapiro? Nah, it's my real name. I'm way cooler than that fucker.
Oh, okay. Never mind that.
Different Ben Shapiro.
Ben Shapiro is like that Jewish right wing.
Yes, talks very fast.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I know who he is. Okay,
but he's say what you will, and this is not a show about politics. I do not want it to be a show about politics. He's a friend of mine who does discuss this on occasion, the guy's got like 250,000 followers on any given day. And if I manage to get him in here, that's one of the things that I do. Yeah. We try to keep all the other non-ufology crap out of this so we don't start more internal wars, and getting people like that and some of my friends in the media that have been supportive and I'll mention to you, Luis already knows, I did a ton of radio hits on shows around the country before the big phone home, and they let me talk about it. They promoted it. I have since had 5 invitations since yesterday, this week, to do a recap and talk about it. So this isn't over yet. We're still going to be promoting it. We're going to have the URL, put it out there, and anybody that didn't make their calls on Saturday, try to get that out to the public. So I try to get this out to the widest audience possible without any fear or favor about what you might think about politics or about Groundhog's Day or anything else. Stay focused, eyes on the prize.
For sure. And can I also touch on that? Because I don't want to put names out there, but like I know Corbell got a lot of shit for going on Tucker Carlson's show because some people think Tucker Carlson's a racist. Do you think it would be advantageous? Because the thing I love about this topic and the thing we really stressed yesterday, Shaw, was that Marco Rubio and Hillary Clinton both come together on this ground and they can have a 3-hour conversation, I'm sure, about what's going on. And they are complete opposites of the political spectrum. Would it be wise if someone went on, say, a Tucker Carlson or a Ben Shapiro and just say, hey, thanks for having me on. And just so you know, I don't agree with a lot of things you say, but I'm happy that we could come together on common ground here and then start the conversation.
100%. And that's what I've been trying to do. And let's try to remember that when the Senate Select Intelligence Committee asked for that report from the UAP task force, every member but one, and they're half and half, Democrats and Republicans, all voted in favor of having the report issued. And the guy who's from Oregon, didn't do it because he didn't think it was an important topic. He was opposing to something entirely unrelated to do with the spending, and actually said in his signing statement that if it hadn't been for the spending involved on an unrelated part of it, that he would have voted for it too. So this is not an issue that has to be left versus right, red versus blue, old versus young, male versus female, anything like that. Everybody can agree on this. And if we let ourselves get dragged down into other areas where we might have legitimate disagreements and areas of debate, then I think it detracts from the conversation.
Luis, you brought up yesterday how I think Stephen Bassett said this. He said this is the most important political item of our time, and you said, "Well, maybe, but what it really is, it's the most uniting political thing of our time." And I think that if we can play it from that perspective, that's powerful.
I agree, man. I don't think we should be pitching this as the most important thing to be discussing, because again, like, you've got a mom or a dad who just lost their kid to a brutal attack or whatever, and it's like they don't want to be hearing about this topic. So I think it's more of, hey, let's use this topic to unify not only the community, UFO community, but all communities. This is a really cool topic to come together on because everyone is curious.
Can I just jump in with a perspective from this side of the Atlantic? It baffles me. It baffles me and a lot of people in my country as to why, if people go on certain chat shows or news shows in America, that they get slated by the other side. It's weird. We can't even get coverage of the UAP issue on our mainstream television channels and news shows, and yet people are coming on on various shows in your country to try and talk the issue up, but then they're just getting absolutely lambasted for being on a certain channel or a certain person's program. It's just very, very odd. We're battling here to get the BBC to actually get news stories, even just on the website, never mind live television. It's crazy. Has anybody got any thoughts about how that works?
Didn't your country also ban Fox News, or is that?
There's all, because I think the right wing supposed to be right wing, so we've got a huge thing about right wing kind of TV programs. There's a new broadcast media called GB News is going to be starting in the UK very shortly, and it might be a case that we might have to try and UAP media trying to get them involved, but they're perceived as being right wing even before they've started broadcasting. So how the hell does that work?
I think you're setting a important precedence here with bringing so many people from diversified backgrounds, opinions from both sides of the spectrum, as well as people that look at the UFO issue from different perspectives. Just by eliminating any bias on your part and asking them to come on this program, and those people accepting that, I think that sets a massive precedence for how people can behave maturely and appropriately when discussing any topic.
Yeah, I mean, I think did we lose Cristina?
I think so.
She dropped off for a second.
Yeah, I'm sure she'll be back. I that made me lose my train of thought. But I was gonna say, I think we did a pretty damn good job of that. I know we had a couple of moments through the day where we had some a couple of people saying, "Oh, I know what it is. I know this is," and hey, great, you know what it is. That's fantastic. I'm glad you figured it out. But I can't take that to my senator. I can't take that to my congressman. I'm not to say that's not a valid point, or the way you're articulating yourself is not valid. It totally is. As a matter of fact, I think you're right. I think it's very, very possible what you're saying, but I just can't take that to the senator. Right. They're just not ready for the conversation. I know that it's, in your opinion, the biggest conversation we need to be having, but it's just, that's not the way. Unfortunately, that's just not the way the world works. It's got to be a wave of people. If everybody was asking for that, then I'd be the jerk in the corner going, I don't know, we should be asking. But I mean, if that was the what everybody was screaming for, I'd be on board 1,000,000%. But it's not, and it's definitely not what our governments are asking for. That's for sure.
Now, I deal with, if I can. I have to deal in my other job on a weekly basis, not so much face to face with actual members of Congress, and some of the stuff that Graeme was pointing to, but actually the people who get the work done, their aides, their chiefs of staff, things like that. There are people in Congress, including in the Senate, on the Senate Select Intelligence Committee, who privately, they don't come out and make proclamations, oh, I know it's this, I know it's that, but who do wonder about those same questions. But Luis is absolutely right. Those aren't the questions that can be asked right now. Right now, we have to get through step one. Are you seeing things? Okay, you are seeing things. Do you know what those things are? No, we don't know what those things are. Does the technology seem unusual? Yes, we aren't entirely sure how anybody would do that. If you can get across that bridge, then we've made huge ground. After that, people can go, well, okay, if we don't know who it is or how it's being done, then maybe we should have some scientists looking into how would that be done and who might be able to do it. And clearly it's dolphins, but, for those who don't believe that, and now I feel bad because I made the same joke again because I'm that kind of an idiot. Please forgive me.
Jazz, that joke crushes.
We're going to be making that joke for the next 20 years. And the more you fight it, the worse it's going to get. So you might as well just embrace it.
we do have, I think we do have people. No, I know we have people who are interested in exploring those questions.
Right.
But I do, and Luis has done a good job pointing this out before. And Lou Elizondo came on and made the pitch he's been making forever. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint. Disclosure is not an event. It's a process. Right. And the first event is getting some sort of recognition to answer those three questions that I just posed. And if the answers to all of them turn out to be, oh, it turns out we know exactly what they are, and it was the Chinese, but we didn't want to tell you, and they have documentation, well, that's going to be disappointing to a lot of people, but at least we have an answer, right?
Yeah.
But if the answer is, no, we've been studying this since the 40s, and we really still don't know, sorry, and we've been trying, and we know you're interested, well, that's a good answer, too. They don't have to say, here's the bodies. Oh, yes, we've been renting a flying saucer for the last 40 years, and it's over Phoenix. No, just get us to that point, and then the conversation moves forward in a reasonable fashion. I'm going to get off my soapbox now. I'm dominating the whole damn show. I agree. But it's something I feel very strongly about.
What you're saying is correct, though, Jazz. And one of the things that I think people are afraid to hear, actually, is that the government doesn't know that much about it. Because people want to believe that the government knows a lot more about it than we do. And because they want those answers. And it just quite simply might be that they don't have the answers that we want to hear, you know. And if that's the case, then share the data, share the whatever evidence that they've uncovered with the scientific community and other researchers, so that we can figure out as a community what that is. You know,
anybody who's been studying this topic for any period of time knows that 98% of these things can be explained. It's the 2% we're all fucking interested in. And like
the diamond in the rough.
Yeah, like we gotta stop, like, you know, assuming everything anyone sees is something to be. Now, it doesn't mean we should discount anything, but we can't just assume that, you know, the 98% is the 2%.
Yeah, and just FYI, before anyone else continues, I've got, if you're liking the opinions of the folks that are being shared, and you're interested in either Jazz and Andrew or Graeme or Cristina or Mike, all of their links are in the chat description below. So click all their stuff, so that way you can follow them as well. We got 100 people in the stream pretty much right now, you guys. So that's awesome. That's the sort of the aftermath of the big phone home, is now we've got people to talk to. So that's fun. Christina, well, before I get to Christina, let me read you what UFO Jane said here. Yes, disclosure is a process. Also, even if we find out what a specific UFO is, there will always be more to ask about. I don't believe questions about aliens should ever end, even if we meet them. I can't argue with that, right?
That's absolutely true, UFO Jane, but at the same time, those questions will never end, because the answers only bring more questions. You know, you didn't know this until yesterday, Luis, but I'm fairly new to looking into this topic. And what I find, and I'm sure everybody who travels this path also finds this as they start looking into it, every answer that you get adds up like 10 to 100 more questions. That's why it's important for people to talk to each other.
Right.
Because nobody has all the answers.
Right.
Doesn't George Knapp say something along the lines of, the more I learn, the less I understand?
Yeah.
And I have another one on top of that, and it's the less I believe, because I come across things that just patently aren't true. People saying things and false witnesses and all the rest of it when you look into some of the historical cases. And you're actually left with less sort of information and less truth at the end of the journey. And that's a little bit disheartening. However, in the last few years, we've had all these new cases, so it's something great to get your teeth into. I would echo what Jazz said before about the process. It's almost like trying to ask the government about aliens straight away when you haven't even had the conversation about if there's a problem to start with. Have they addressed the issue about the unknowns? And you can't run before you can walk. So it's crazy trying to jump into a conversation with elected officials and the media about the existence of aliens when they can't even recognize there's actually a problem with just unknown things flying around in our skies. And until they actually get to grips with that, we've got no chance of pushing it forward. So that's where we have to concentrate. And if you want to call them drones to get that conversation going, then maybe that's what we should couch things in language they can understand and they can actually use because they're comfortable with it, rather than say that they're UAPs or whatever, or UFOs, because that's obviously a term that basically gets people running for the hills in the media and the government. Whereas if you do it, you're a bit clever about it, and you couch things in language which are much more likely to accept and actually engage with you, that's what we should do.
Mike, Luis, can you just put me backstage for a minute, please? I'll be right back. I got somebody at the door.
No, take your time.
I'll be right back.
You're good.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I think we should go on a Tinder date with the government before asking them to hop in bed.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
But to your point earlier, to your point, Graeme, I mean, every wise man, great scientist, great mathematician has always said, the more I know, the less I know, right? So this is a concept that, we should all be excited about. This is exciting. Like when we get new data, when we get new information, it's exciting. It's more to explore. And the more we learn, the less we know. But that's just the nature of reality. And that's the nature of being a human. And it's exciting if you can live from that place of, childlike curiosity, rather than being like, I must have the answer, because that you're doomed for depression.
Right. Definitely.
One thing that I'm not going to point any fingers, but one thing that I've seen in some cases with veteran researchers, when they get to a point where they think some people, when they've reached a point where they think they have answers, they start to go down a really dark path for some reason. And I don't understand why, but it's almost like they've answered all their questions. They don't have any more questions. And now there's this, I don't know, this darkness that they start to embrace. And I hear these people talking about doom and gloom.
Well, dude, that's any topic though, Andrew. Like you can do that with almost anything. Like you can do that with, you know, politics. You can do that with religion. You can do that, and that's you know, I mean, it's almost like they're put themselves in their own cult. Yeah, and they don't want to listen to anything outside of this cult. And it's like, come on, man, like. There are other ways to have this discussion without going to this really extreme place. I mean, it happens all over the world. You know.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I didn't mean to pinpoint UFO researchers.
Yeah, no, but you're right. Like because it's weird, right? Like we're in this place where we're actually getting more information from the people that we've been screaming at for the last 60 years, and they're angry about it.
Yes,
like. Exactly. What's going on here? Like, why are you angry because it doesn't fit your narrative, or are you angry because of what? Like, fill in the blank. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out your motivation.
Well, I think on that, and sorry if I cut you off, but I think
please,
the more information you have, sometimes you feel more of a loner because people just can't understand what you're seeing, right? People say ignorance is bliss. And so for us, it's like, oh, we're so happy. But for these people that have all this information, you know, either fact or false, it affects their mindset. And to us, we see it as gloom, but to them, they see it as reality. It's all about perspective and all the information that we see.
That's a good point. And, you know, it is that perspective that's why it's important to stay curious and always keep looking. So somebody posted that in the chat a little while ago, is that, you know, it's important to always stay curious and always ask questions. If you think you have the answers, then, you know, move outside of that paradigm and look at it from a different perspective so that you can look at it with fresh eyes.
Right. You would think if you I'm sorry, Graeme, but if you reach the end of the mystery and there's nowhere else to go in your mind, then why wouldn't you go outside of that mystery and go, okay, well, if I've reached the bottom of that hole, that means there's got to be other holes that are close to it that I could dig and maybe get a fresh or different perspective. Sorry, Graeme, I cut you off.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Cristina, I was going to ask what you've just said there about people being, you know, ignorance is bliss. Would you think that applies to the general population at large, that people who don't engage with this subject, are they just happy being, you know, ignorant of it so they don't have to worry about it or you know, understand the ramifications and the implications of what we're looking at?
I don't see why not. I mean, here's the thing. Everyone has their strength in one topic. So for us, we consider it as ignorance. They don't understand this kind of phenomenon. But for them, they could be really smart in science, things that we don't understand, and they would classify us as ignorant. So again, it's about perspective, and it really depends on who you're talking to specifically than more in the general public.
But people can have more than one interest, surely. I mean, you know, I've got a range of interests, and I'm sure you all have as well. And it just seems that, you know, we do have the capacity, the mental capacity, to be able to accommodate another one, if you like. We're not limited in terms of having, you know, limited memory to be able to take on board new concepts and new interests. So I just wonder, you know, what's stopping people, sort of embracing what we're looking at and getting on board.
I would say, coming from a digital marketing perspective, I would say algorithms. I think, you know, your footprint digitally is following you everywhere online, and you're getting retargeted with the content that interests you. And if people aren't already interested in this topic, it's very difficult for them to, you know, to find it easily. So, you know, we were talking about, and we were talking about this morning too, about this idea of, you know, like, you know, we look at the new videos that came out that Corbell obtained and released. But that being said, you know, you look at something like that and you go, I mean, there are some alternate explanations to discuss here. But then you think of somebody like Fravor, who, you know, had the Tic Tac incident, and like that guy, like, after listening to a 2-hour interview with that guy, I'm more convinced of what he saw than what I'm seeing with my own eyes in this video content. So if that's the case, then the majority of people aren't going to spend the time to listen to a 2-hour interview on Joe Rogan with David Fravor, right? Like, it's not going to happen. And so they're just, you know, with the additional info bubble that they're in, plus what it takes to actually, you know, find the right person to get good information on this topic, I'm not surprised most people don't care or haven't found it.
Christina, is your channel called Paradigm Shift?
Yeah, Paradigm Shift UFO Jane.
That's exactly what needs to happen. Is, you know, the majority of people, and this is true for what we've been talking about. Anybody that gets pigeonholed into this, or pigeonholes themselves into one topic to a point where they become so obsessed with it that they can't see anything but what's in front of them. It's important for people to understand that you can step outside of that paradigm, shift your paradigm, and look at a different topic for a little bit. You know, you don't have to be so focused on this one issue.
But that can be hard for so many, because if you already know a topic, you're in your comfort zone, and people don't like to jump out of their comfort zone because it brings that anxiety, that depression, all these emotions that we don't like, you know? So yes, I want to agree with you 100%, but we have to bring that kind of into reality, people that just can't handle it.
Yeah, that's so true. And, you know, I mean, talking about the topic, you know, wow, I don't really want to go down the path of mental illness, but it almost seems like that is a mental illness when you get to that point of obsession with a specific topic where you can't really get outside of that.
Yeah, and especially in today's world, you know, the generation that we're in right now, Gen Zers and even millennials, you know, mental health has never been bigger, it's never been more prevalent. And that's obviously very sad and disappointing. But in a lot of cases, the older generations might say, well, it's all about perspective again. You know, us younger ones have it a lot easier in a lot of respects, yet we make it so much more difficult for ourselves because we're so used to our comfort zone. We're so used to having coffee every morning. We're so used to waking up at 10 a.m. to go to school, things of this nature, that like opening up to this topic, the UFO topic, the paranormal, it's like, I don't understand it. I already classify it in this box of like, I don't understand it, instant anxiety.
Rickson makes a really nice comment here, and I also love the phrase "mise en place." Just I'm a server, and that speaks to my soul. So expression mise en place means everything is in its right place. People don't tend to absorb what doesn't make sense for their worldview. Further from what their view, harder it is. It's a little jumbled. Sorry if I'm reading like a 4-year-old. This can't get much further. I think I see what you're saying. Basically, he's agreeing, right? Did I read that crazily?
I think you might have. I think it might have ran out. I think there was more to his.
Okay, yeah, maybe there's. Yeah, I don't
further
see
from that view, harder.
That's all right. I think what you're getting, everything is in its place, and as soon as it gets out of that place, people start going crazy, and it's like you know, you got to approach all of these things with a level-headed, rational mind. Like, I mean, Michael and I were having a discussion in the pre-chat before the show started about something that really pissed me off, and I'm like, okay, should we talk about this? And Mike's like, yeah, let's do it, and I'm like, well, I also know that I'm being really emotional right now, and I don't want these. Yeah, go for it. And I don't want these emotions to get the better part of me, right? So I'd rather, oh, sorry, Jazz, I forgot to bring it back in. I'd rather.
I mean, you forget.
No, you're not. I'd rather wait for I'd rather wait for, number one, the people that I reach out to reach back to me. And then I also want to wait because I want to just give myself the time to emotionally relax before I actually address the situation. So I think that's important. And sometimes it's a really hard thing to do, because sometimes you feel attacked. You want to attack back. That's a natural human reaction. But we in this community, and really you could apply this philosophy to anything in life.
Yes.
Take a moment, take a deep breath, and think before you start writing, tweeting, acting, lashing out. And I mean, this is something I have to really struggle with every day. This is not something I just do, like I struggle with this. This is not something that's easy to do. So I'm not trying to give people advice that I myself have a hard time doing, like no. It's a process.
But you took your own advice, right? I mean, you literally said, I said, no, you can do it. Just take it down. You're like, I can. And you're like, oh, well, then I shouldn't.
Right. To me, take it down, like go from 11 to 10. Good luck. Like good. Even when I'm not angry, good luck. But
you did it. You brought it up today, and you did it with a very cool and calm head. But because you took a couple minutes to do it, I mean, the most important thing is if you hit that point that you have a bottlenose dolphin to talk to and walk you back.
Jazz is not appreciating.
Nothing from Jazz. Okay.
Thank you. What Luis just said, by the way, dolphins aside, is pretty much the antithesis of Twitter. Unfortunately, that's the majority of Twitter. I don't do a lot of other social media besides Twitter, but that's the antithesis of that. People fall into those traps all the time. I have done it. I'm not going to go into details to reveal, anything that's personal, but I will just say that in the past, even inside the UFO community, for example, I was one of those people who at various times have gotten into some admittedly heated debates, possibly after a few too many martinis, on the subject of Bob Lazar, for example, and I was like, I see so much good work that's done. And I was one of those people that when I first heard about it, I think everybody was fascinated with that story. Yeah. Later on, I became kind of disenchanted with it. And I actually got into cross swords with some of the people who are the biggest promoters of that story. When we finished the event yesterday, I got the nicest private note from Jeremy Corbell. And because I was out there saying, this guy has just delivered some new stuff for us. We need more data, certainly, to flesh it out. But this really looks like good stuff. You were just given a gift. Why can't we just accept that?
Right.
And I think people can come together. You can disagree on individual points, but we all have to do work to make sure we don't disagree in a disrespectful way. And I have been guilty of that. I have been guilty of that with Jeremy Corbell. Well, not directly to him, but about something that he feels is very important. And I've tried to back off from that and just go, let's examine all the data. Everybody can make up their own mind. But when we start falling into these internecine wars on everything, and we saw that in the chat, I know we were talking about that offline, there were people fighting about everything in the chat yesterday, which was very disappointing. And I think it did sort of detract from, let's make sure we all keep our eyes on the prize, get the job done, And so many people came together who have disparate views on internal things inside of ufology, in other areas, and social areas, political areas. A lot of people came together, and that's why I thought what you guys did and put together yesterday was such a phenomenal success. Even though we did have that flare up in the chat and things like that, the overall message, I thought it was a rousing success. And it's not done. If I'm going to do anything while I'm here today, I want to re-emphasize to everybody that those of us who are journalists, those of us who are working with the mainstream media on a daily basis, those of us who go on the radio, who have contacts, with news outlets on television that we talk to on a daily basis, we're not done. That wasn't a one and done thing. We're still pushing this.
I can tell you right now, Jazz,
it has to happen.
Today is when the real work begins.
Exactly.
And that's what I was told, hey, by the way, what you just did, that was just and you've got a lot of work to do is basically what I was told. And can you tell me real quick, Jazz, because I am fascinated. Jeremy Corbell reached out to you yesterday?
Last night.
Luis,
Yeah.
Luis,
Last night.
Before Jazz answers that, I'm gonna have to head out. I got some plans.
Dude, no worries. We actually, I was going to ask the whole crew. We got one more surprise guest coming in. He'll be here in a second. Andrew, I love your philosophies. I love your viewpoint. You're welcome back anytime. You know that. And
Andrew,
don't
we'll
be
talk
shy.
soon.
Yeah.
Great to meet you, Andrew.
Guys. Great to see y'all.
Yeah. Later, my dude. I'm curious to know, Jazz, what exactly did he say?
That, as a journalist, is something that I can't reveal.
Okay.
Because I have not been given permission to do that.
Yeah.
And if Jeremy wants to come up and share that, or give me permission to share that, I'm happy to do it. It was very short. It was very succinct, and it was very professional and polite.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it was like, you know, hey, we finally got a chance to talk about something that's meaningful to both of us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it was, and I expressed my appreciation to him for the work that he and George Knapp have done.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and sure, there were areas in the past. And by the way, just for the record, and this isn't something that's secret, some of Jeremy's previous movies, I have published reviews online of his previous movies that were completely complimentary because I thought it was great work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah, I have some questions about the Bob Lazar story. I think a lot of people do. Other people don't. That's fine. You know, but he was so just nice to just reach out privately and just say, hey, it was nice to, inverted quotes, meet you online, participating in the same thing, and we're all in the same boat together. And I want to publicly thank him for that.
No, I think that's important to say because I know he's a lightning rod. A lot of people either really, really dislike him or really, really love him. I'm right there with you, but I did reviews on his films and his work, and sometimes they were a little scathing. Like they were very, very, because look, for me, right, when I heard about that Bob Lazar story, I was 9 years old. It was 1989. It was the biggest story that I had ever heard in my life. And for 15, 20, 25 years, I thought Bob Lazar was 1,000,000% telling the truth. I thought the story was 100% true. And then I start this channel, and then I start really looking into some things, and I'm being sent things, and I'm like, man, this might not be true. And I started getting angry. And I started getting emotional, and then I started turning. Then the biggest mistake I made was I turned on the microphone and I started filming. You know, and now I look back on it, especially after the interaction that I've had with Jeremy Corbell. I said this yesterday on the stream. I don't think you were here for it, Jazz. When I was going through all of the details with Jeremy, as far as who he was going to share links with, who he was writing to, who he was contacting, if there was any information coming from me that I was projecting to him, he double checked it, triple checked it, audio checked it, verbally checked it with a FaceTime before he sent it to people. And I really had to step back, and I will say this because I said it. It's something I said. I privately apologized to him. I told him, dude, I had you all wrong, completely wrong. And I had some opinions about you and some things that I really thought that were true. And I never met you, and I prejudged you before I met you. And I want to apologize to you for that because I don't think it's fair. And I really learned a valuable lesson today. I just want you to know that. And he was so appreciative and so nice about it. And I got to tell you, even with that, there are some things I don't agree with Jeremy Corbell 100% on. I'm going to tell you that, but that's okay. Like, because again, what you said, Jaws, let's take the good out of what George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell did over here in the last 2 weeks. Whether you think they're drones, whether you think they're not, whether you think whatever, my mother sent me that video. I keep stressing that. My mother, who has nothing to do with this shit whatsoever, took the time out of her day to learn how to copy a link, which, hello, that's difficult enough for her to do, but then to send it to me, like, she had to that's work for her. You know what I mean? And so that is what you need to take away from the story. Are there holes? Yeah, of course. But let me tell you something. Nobody's ever said that Bob Lazar, at least from a documentary standpoint or from a journalist standpoint, nobody's ever said he's 100% telling the truth. Nobody. everybody has across the board said it's a compelling story. Of course, I'm giving you my viewpoints, and they're sort of giving you your opinion on how they feel, but there's never a definitive, he's telling the truth.
The mistake I made, and if Jeremy Corbell is either watching or winds up watching a replay of this, the mistake I made is that I forgot the one thing that Jeremy Corbell always says: weaponize your curiosity. Right. He's never come out, to my knowledge, and said, this is the absolute truth. I have the goods. We have the flying saucers. We have the element 115, the Moscovium. He's just presenting the information he was able to gather and put it out to the public and said, here's what I found. You make up your own mind. You know, and I looked at it, and yeah, like you said, there's a lot of people that look at it and go, you know, I'd like to see more substantive documentation because extraordinary claims require extraordinary proof. You know, we all know that. But I did the same thing you did, and I jumped over the line on several occasions online. And I was just like, you know, this bust is so unbelievable, you know, and you feel that way. There's nothing wrong with feeling that way, but there's also never been any proof that he's lying. And not Jeremy, I mean the Bob Lazar, because as I once said famously at the beginning of a rant I regretted later, it's like that's trying to prove the Easter Bunny doesn't exist. You know, you can't prove a negative.
Right. So, and beyond all of that, Jazz,
hey, it's not true.
Beyond all of that, and what you said is 100% correct. Before we say hi to Max Moskowitz.
Hi, Max.
Very good.
Hey, guys. Before you to double down on that, here's the real question. And I asked this to Mikey yesterday. What does Bob Lazar have to do with right now, today?
Nothing.
Zero. Nothing. So we can just move past it. You know, let's just say, okay, here's the thing, right? Bob Lazar, and from what I could tell, Bob Lazar, he only comes out like maybe once every 15 years or something. And when he does come out, he seems really reluctant to do it, but he's not active in this community. He does not give a shit about Jazz Shaw or Michael Mataluni or Cristina Gomez or Max Moskowitz or Graeme Rendall or me. He does not care about us or the community. Period. So why don't we all just do him the same courtesy? Let's extend him the same courtesy and just not care about it.
Yeah, well, he just wants to build like weird stuff and like enjoy his weird life.
It's weird. He's a weird dude, you know, and I love watching. I love watching the weird. You know, I'm here for the weird.
Can I just say one thing? Then I'm going to bow out if that's all right. Going back to the releases, it strikes me that we're always clamoring for more information, more data, more video, more footage. It's all the time. You always hear, "Oh, we need to see more. We need to see the start of this video. We need to see that." And then when it's released, when Jeremy Corbell comes along and releases something, or Tim McMillan at the debrief released something, everybody's all over them, like a rash, saying, "Oh, you shouldn't have done this. Oh, that's wrong." All the rest of it. And you just think, what the hell do you want? You know, you're asking for this information. It's been sent to you, and now you're still not happy. You know, what more do you want? Sometimes I really despair. I'm sorry, I'm just getting a bit emotional here. I do genuinely despair of people, and I don't swear live, but I nearly did there. You know, it's a case of I simply don't understand people.
Yeah,
I love when Graeme gets emotional.
Yeah,
Graeme, by the way, is entirely right, and Luis and I have both been guilty of this.
Yeah,
and that's something I was saying in a different forum just recently when Jeremy Corbell put out that video, and you know when the other photos came out, I was sitting there saying to myself, and then stupidly again went public with it, but in this case I believe in the right direction, and I was like, you're crying for more stuff. You just got more stuff. You got more video and photo, and the Pentagon came out and said, yes, that's something we had and we were looking at. Does it prove everything? No, but what's the worst case scenario? That it turns out the video was a training video? That's one theory that's been put out there. Well, then you still have something that the task force was looking at, and people are being trained to go and look at strange things that they can't identify. That's like the worst case scenario, and it's still good news. But we're missing the testimony, which I hope will come forward later. You guys earlier mentioned the stuff about the Nimitz and the Roosevelt task force, you know, And that fleshed out the story. And if that fleshing out happens, then I think you've been given a gift. So why would we go, as Graeme was saying, and trash the person who went and did the due diligence, got as much information as he could get, and put it out for you? Let's stop being assholes. Since somebody already said the F word, I'm going to say asshole. Sorry.
Matt,
we're being assholes, and I've been an asshole.
All right, okay? Graeme's got to roll, so Graeme, we'll see you later, buddy.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
We'll
Thank you, Graeme.
And then we got Mass Moskowitz. Hello, sir. Welcome.
Hey, guys. How are you doing?
Doing good. Yeah, we're hanging in there.
You must be exhausted.
Nah.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm great. I'm here, right? We're doing this.
Well, everyone will forgive you if you're exhausted. You guys did an amazing job. So,
hey, man, appreciate it.
My hats off to you guys.
No, hey, hats off to you, man. I mean, like we can't do this without everyone who was involved. So thank you. Like this doesn't happen without you. It doesn't happen without everyone.
Imagine how rough that. Imagine trying to get people to watch just me and Luis for 8 hours, dude.
Well, we could have all watched Christine for 8 hours. At least she's interesting.
That would help a lot.
But both you, Michael and Luis, have such good presence on camera. Like, you're both amazing podcasters that I think if it had to happen for 8 hours, I think you guys would nail it.
Well, I tell you, when I brought Michael onto my channel, the second he signed on into the chat, I was like, I like this guy. He came in singing. He was like, what is up? I'm like, who is this guy? So it was all good from then. I agree with you, Cristina. I think our flow is very, very good. And that's why I keep, bringing him back. Is why I bring you back. That's why I bring Josh, because I like these conversations. I like having these conversations that are reasonable, that don't get angry. Nobody's pointing fingers. Nobody's throwing mud, and we're also forwarding the discussion.
Yeah.
Well, Luis, I think you have a great energy, man. You really hype it up and you really get things going for 8 hours. And Michael, you guys have a great one-on-one. I don't know, it works. It's great.
Max, tell me about you text me this morning. The article got picked up. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah,
please do.
So, I wasn't expecting much. So we brought out 2 editions of the magazine I freelance for. I wrote basically 2 editions on the UAP phenomena, and I was bracing myself to be the joker, the people would laugh at it, but that didn't happen actually. And what did happen was it was elected item of the day twice.
Nice.
And yesterday, and this was crazy, it was picked up by the biggest newspaper in Holland. And they were talking about Louis. They were talking about the UAP phenomena. They did not mention me.
Of course.
But
you did all the work. Why would they do that?
No.
They did mention dolphins, right?
Please say they mentioned dolphins.
Just checking.
No, but that's fine because it's the topic that matters most, and I'm really happy. People are being the awareness is starting in Holland now too, which is the most important thing.
Yeah. Well, you know what, man? That's how I know you're a good reporter. And that's why I know I can trust you. You don't care if your name's out there, just as long as the information gets out there. And that's the most important.
A little bit, though.
No, of course it does. Of course it does. I can understand that. I've got that kind of ego as well. But yeah, for example, we were talking, me and Mikey were talking about the advertising of this event. Right? Like if I was in this for money or if I was in this to grow my channel, I would have put the unidentified celebrity review on every piece of material that I created. But I didn't do that because I didn't want people to think that this was a ruse to get more followings. Like I don't give a shit about that. I really don't. And then when we did the 8-hour live stream, I only asked people to subscribe once at the top of the show, once at the end of the show, because I don't want to be pushing, subscribe to me, blah, 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 like be my friend. Of course, yes, I would love for you to subscribe. Of course, yes, I would love for you to ring the bell. Of course, yeah, like and share the channel, of course. But that's not the goal. The goal is to unite everyone here, to talk about the same stuff, to have fun conversations, and also put this in a realm where we can present this to our elected representatives. So, I know, of course you want the credit. You would love for people to go read more of your stuff, but I do applaud you for saying, hey, like the information's out there, and that's the most important part, that people are getting the data. Because I can promise you this, Max, that's the biggest newspaper in Holland. Come next week, people are going to be asking, who wrote this? Where can I find more of this? The
hollandaise people want
the truth. The hollandaise. I can't.
It's also really good sauce.
I'm really trying not to laugh at that because I know it's got to be racist somehow.
No. Yesterday, I was like, what do you call the people of Holland? The Hollandese? And he's like, no, it's the Dutch. And then that turned into this big joke. I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot, Jazz.
Basically, Louis, I got to call you out on this one, dude.
Yeah.
You said I was from Denmark just an hour ago.
I'm sorry.
We hate Denmark.
I don't know anything about Europe. I've never been there. Please,
my country is about to invade Denmark. No, just joking.
I guess that'd be like
really
an American
need to cover that.
The Dutch and Denmark both have a D, which I think it's just.
Yeah, I think that's probably where my
now. Quick question for you, Max. You guys don't call it Holland, you call it the Netherlands, or do you? So the official name is Netherlands, but it's like the Holland is slang.
All right, so I gotta explain this. The Netherlands is like the overall areas we have, but that's also colonies, and that's kind of a bad thing. So let me just tell you, I'm third generation immigrant. I'm not really Dutch. So it's about colonization. And Holland is actually two provinces that are coastal. That's South Holland and North Holland. But people know Holland because, those were the guys who went out to sea and, found stuff.
Like dolphins and whatnot.
Like dolphins and
like New York. We actually
found New York.
We found New York.
The continent you're standing on.
Yeah.
You lived in. We were having a discussion. You said you had lived in New York City because you were studying film. I didn't know that about you. What part of New York City were you living in?
I moved around a lot, but mostly I lived in Brooklyn.
Okay, yeah, I was in Brooklyn for a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah,
I lived in Brooklyn for a year was it Bed-Stuy? I just remember it being the Marcy stop on the J train. It's the Marcy projects. That's where the notorious B.I.G. grew up. And what I always found fascinating is when I would walk out from the train, on one side, hardcore, what I would assume maybe gangsters, right? It's a big assumption. And then on the other side,
not a big assumption.
On the other side, hard, very Hasidic Jews. And I'm like,
I'm Jewish, by the way.
And they don't cross streets. Like this is the street was literally the border. And I'm like, man, this is just, and my apartment was on that street. So I would just, every day I walked in, and I just found it fascinating that just these they're right here and they just don't cross.
I got to tell you the funniest story. I moved to New York to study, and I found a place in Prospect Heights, which meant I was the only white boy.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm from Amsterdam, the Netherlands, and the way we treat ethnicities and people from other different places, it's way more loosey-goosey over here. It's not as uptight as in the United States. So I didn't feel the tension. So I was like an idiot just walking around the street at 4:00 in the morning. So I remember,
Max. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you because when I lived there, and it was quite a while ago, I lived in Hell's Kitchen, and I was similarly just completely obtuse. Just had no idea what. I'm done. Go ahead.
Sure. So at some point, there was like a McDonald's across the street, and I had to get some food. And some of the kids from the neighborhood heard my accent, and they said, "Yo, N-word, where you from?"
Yeah. And
you were one. You became one.
And I knew if I would say the Netherlands or Denmark, Louis, they wouldn't know where I was from. So I just said, "I'm from Amsterdam," which is the truth. Yeah. And they said, "Yo, N-word."
That was the perfect answer.
You from Amsterdam? And I had to talk about weed and prostitutes for about 4 hours. But ever since that time, I was the only white guy who could walk around freely in Prospect Heights, and they would just
without carrying a badge.
And they would just say, "Yo, Amsterdam, what's up?" That's it.
Love it.
Amazing.
Cristina, you ever been in New York City? You got to go. You
really don't.
No, I think
I like the small towns, the ones that are away from a lot of people. I'm not I grew up in a big city and I didn't really like it. So
okay.
Not my cup of tea.
I was gonna say I feel like every young adult should go live in New York City for at least a year. That's what I always read. Just because it's the best city I've ever lived in. It's the best city I've ever lived in. There's so much culture. There's so look, I guess because I'm opposite. I kind of came from I was born in Miami, but I grew up in the suburbs, and I grew up in a very predominantly white part of town. And so a lot of my friends had very, very, a very deep confusion for who they were. Like their last name was Rodriguez, but they were driving a pickup truck with a rebel flag on it. And so it's just like this walking contradiction. And that's what I grew up in. And then when I moved to New York City, all of those things immediately had to be dropped. And I had to really learn how to accept new opinions, new people, different people that I thought I would never talk to or associate myself with. And it really expanded my being. I think I'm as cool as I am today because I lived in New York City and I didn't stay at home in that small town where people have very, narrow-minded opinions that they don't like to challenge. And in New York City, if you have an opinion, you could bet your ass someone's going to challenge it if they don't like it. So that's what I love about it. Christine can
probably correct me, by the way, but I think it was Hunter S. Thompson who said, "Live in New York, but leave before it makes you too hard. And live in Los Angeles, but leave before it makes you too soft." And that, guys, everybody tune in elsewhere for my marine biology lectures, but I have to go because I have another appointment coming up. But thank you very much for having me. And always thank you guys for doing the event yesterday. I think it was huge. It hasn't stopped, and it's going to keep going. And thank you for having me on.
Yep, the work's just begun. We'll see you soon, Jazz.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jazz.
Mikey, I know you got to go too soon, right? You're pushing up against the time limit here. Are you leaving now?
5 minutes or so.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess we can start wrapping things up. What do you got, Cristina?
Max, I have a question for you. Do you know about the Baltic Sea anomaly that happened in the Netherlands a few years back?
The Baltic Sea?
Yeah. Baltic? Did I say it right? Well, Baltic Sea anomaly.
Well, the Baltic Sea is in Eastern Europe.
Yeah, but it was found by a team from the Netherlands. From Sweden and Finland.
Yeah. Oh, right. Oh,
do you happen to know about it? I mean, come on, you have the background.
She is really onto her game. Goddamn.
That's why everybody loves her.
That's why everyone loves her. City. She's good.
She's good. Yeah, she's good.
Well, Cristina, I have read some about that in the Dutch newspapers, but I'm not sure what you are getting at. What is it? They supposed to be found or?
Yeah, well, in 2011, around I think in the summer, June, they found a sonar image that look kind of like a sunken UFO object.
Oh, let me see if I can find it. I think I know what you're talking about.
Oh, I gotta go. Can I just Google that in the Dutch newspapers right now?
Absolutely.
That's so interesting.
I don't see any photo. I'm looking for see if I can find a photo in Wikipedia.
I got it.
You got.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this is it right here. They're kind of like this is sort of a picture or a drawing of what they say it might look like. I don't know if I can. I'll see if I can find like a radar. Oh yeah, here's a radar image of it. That's it right there.
Okay.
I mean, when they dove down there, Cristina, correct me if I'm wrong, but they did send a diving team down there, and when they got to it, it looked like rocks. It looked like natural coral that just happens to be in this crazy shape. But I mean, if there's anything that you could expand on that, I love that people call it the Millennium Falcon because that's what it kind of looks like.
I know. I love.
You guys see this?
Yeah.
No.
Oh wait, hold on. Let me blow up your picture here. Yep, that's it.
That's it, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I definitely see it from Star Wars.
Yeah, definitely.
It is interesting because how much different you said that they saw, coral, that's all they really saw was coral and rocks. But as we know, coral builds up over time around these objects. And like you look at the Amazon, and there were, I think it was during the 18th or 19th century, people were writing about Amazonian tribes deep in the Amazon. And then a couple hundred years later, when the explorers went back, all of these civilizations were not there, and they thought that people were just kind of making this up. Come to find out, when they were doing sonar readings LiDAR readings over the Amazon, they saw just these massive structures and civilization that was there. And then they were able to find out that the original English explorers gave them all smallpox. They all died, and the jungle came back up. But over 200 years, there was no trace of the civilization. And then, just doing LiDAR readings, they're there. So there's, just because something looks like it's not there doesn't mean there's not something underneath that the sonar didn't actually reveal. We just don't know.
The only thing I would say, just because I've done a lot of scuba diving in my life, I'm looking at the close-up pictures of this, and this isn't coral. This is like slate rock.
Oh, okay.
So this is that, like, coral doesn't grow like this.
Well, some scientists said it was glacier deposits, but then the news, like after that, the news really went down in the U.S., so there's not too much information on it. And so I wanted to ask Max on his opinion, just because, like, I want the answers. You know?
Yeah, no.
What I found, it wasn't actually a Dutch team that was looking for it, but a Swedish team. And they were looking for 100-year-old booze, actually. There was supposed to be a sunken ship with very extinguished alcohol, and they were looking for that. But they found this. So this is what the sonar brought up.
Yeah. So,
good to know. Thank you. Thank you.
No, I'm glad we got a little bit of information on it, because it is weird. I mean, it's weird. It's a weird thing.
About weird. You guys, I've been talking about one case in the Netherlands, because we have been talking about, of course, the Pentagon cases and what the U.S. military have found. But there's one big, huge case in the Netherlands I've been talking about. And my friends who have the Dutch UFO hotline in Holland are working on the documentary and lots of articles. There's a huge case that happened in Holland in 1979. It's called the Soesterberg case, on a military base where the Americans stored in the Cold War in secret nuclear weapons. And in 1979, 12 or 13 Dutch military were witness to a UAP appearing above the airbase, hovering the size of a football field, not making any noise, and shooting off like a bullet. And not just 13 Dutch military saw that, but also civilians in the area. And Louis knows about the case, because I talked about it with him in my podcast. Do you guys know anything about that case? Because it's supposed to be one of the bigger ones.
No, God, no. This is the first time I'm hearing about it. Can you give us a little more?
I can.
Please do. Please do. I mean, I know Mike's running short on time here. Man, maybe we should have you back and talk about it. What do you think, Max? What would be the better thing to do? You think you could squeeze it in here in the next, I don't know, 5-10 minutes? Or should we just come back and let's really talk about it?
I can squeeze it in, but we can also do.
We could do both. We could do both, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna. Max, it was a pleasure. Christina, pleasure. Luis, pleasure. Yeah. Love you guys. Have fun, and I will catch you on the flip side.
All right, my man. Talk to you.
All right, thank
you.
Okay, lay it on me, Max. I got all the time in the world. Christina, how you looking? Oh wait, you're on mute.
Sorry, I said I'm good for a bit longer, and I really want to hear the story.
Okay, good. Yeah, me too. All right, let's do it.
All right. So basically, this is one of the bigger cases in the Netherlands, but because there were so many witnesses, there was made a radio documentary about it. So let's say, do you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So like a month later, in those days, it was 1979. They would still make radio documentary.
Right.
So our documentary team went to the base and they interviewed the military men who were witness to that. And it's online, but it's in Dutch. But maybe I can get it transcribed to you guys.
That would be
cool.
But
it's amazing. It's amazing because if you take into context what these guys saw at the time, like right now, we have so much more technology and we're spoiled by that. But with their minds at that time and how they describe what they saw with the utter confusion, it's really good to hear, because you have to imagine something hovering above your head the size of a football field, not making noise, like floating still, like on a dime,
right.
Not moving. This in 1979, there were no drones, not that of that size, and these guys were describing all of them the same thing. And there's this really cool witness account of a 19-year-old girl at the time. Sorry, COVID.
Yeah.
Joking. A 19-year-old girl who was riding her horse through the woods. She saw that thing. So sorry. And she chased that on her horse. And years later, people filmed her, did an interview, and she keeps to her story.
Well, let me ask you, what was the who was the, because you said it happened on a military base, right?
Yeah.
So who was the highest? Was this a Dutch military base, or this was an American military base? So it was Dutch with Americans holding weapons there.
So, Louis, now it gets really interesting, because there was always the suspicion there were nuclear weapons at that air base. But a big Dutch newspaper got the proof in January this year that they actually had nuclear weapons over there. And it was a shared base with the Dutch and the American military. And you have to be aware, this was Cold War time, right? So the Americans had a couple of bases in Holland where they stored nukes.
They had a lot of bases in that part of the world, basically pointing nukes at Russia, essentially.
Look, but now it gets really interesting, because my friends Alex, Gifjoen, and Bram Rosa run the UFO hotline in Holland. It's called ufomeldpunt.nl. And these guys have like a heat map where the most UAP activity appears in the Netherlands. And we have a couple of military air bases. And on a couple, there is suspected or suspicion there's nuclear weapons. And it's about 4 or 5. And guess where the most activity of UAPs is in Holland?
Christina, I'll let you take the first guess.
No, go ahead and tell me. Go ahead and tell me, Max.
Well,
I'm going to guess. Well, I'll guess. I'll say it was a military base.
So let me elaborate on this a little bit more. Yeah. So, of course, for the article I was writing for Nieuwe Revue magazine, I did a FOIA request to the Dutch fighting forces, the army. And I asked, okay, so do you see UFOs? Do you see UAPs? Do our forces notice them? And they say, no, we do not ever see UFOs, but we do see unknown. So they just have another word.
Yeah.
And they see a lot of unknown. And the other funny thing is, when you ask them, where do you see the most unknown? It's always on the same place where this UFO appeared in 1979. But also the other places in Holland where there's suspicions, where there's nukes. So,
interesting.
yeah.
Well, let me ask you, who was the highest ranking Dutch official that out of the military witnesses there, what was his rank or her rank? Just out of curiosity, if you have that.
It was a colonel.
Okay. Yeah. So that's a pretty high rank.
Pretty high, yeah.
Fair to say. And
he changed his story a lot.
The colonel did?
Yeah.
From what to what? What were the biggest changes in there?
The first, I think. I hope I'm not telling anything. Fact check me on this, but I'll give you more information. But I think. At first, he was like, "I believe my men. I was there. Their witness accounts. I stand right behind my men." Like
wait, hold on a second. But that statement implies that he didn't see it himself. Right?
No, he was there, and I think he even saw something.
Oh, okay.
Fact check me on this.
Yeah. No. It's okay. It's just the way you said it. It sounds like he's backing up what his men saw. Like he believes the other 7 men that saw this. He believes them, which makes it sound like he wasn't actually there, but he believes the people that were working underneath him. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I do think he was on location actually.
Okay. It's okay. You're working off memory, so it's okay. But I just wanted to see if we could straighten that out, because I think that's important, because if the colonel sees it, that's a big deal. If the colonel believes his men saw it, I think it's different, but not that much different, but it is different. But I'd like to know what were the big changes.
I'm going to extend you all the information on this.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Yeah. So there was a very high-ranking officer. He vouched for his men. What was the? So you wanted to know if there was a high-ranking officer, right?
Yeah. Well, well, more primarily, you said he changed the story. So at first he said he trusted his men. So what was the biggest change that he flipped on with that?
Okay, so a couple of days they came up with a. Okay, so you have to imagine it was on a February. It was very early in the morning. It was cold, and they say it was basically a Fata Morgana. Okay. Like a air mirror. How do you call this thing? Like some weird natural phenomenon or something. Like it was bouncing off. But if there's a football field triangle above your head, that's not and 12 men see it, like they're just looking up. And by the way, more information on this. They all say the same thing. They said the airport was lit up. It was like a summer day, like everything was lit. And this was at night. They said that you could read a book.
Wow.
Yeah. So this was some phenomenon.
Cristina, you got any questions?
No, that's an incredibly fascinating story, and I'll definitely be looking more into that. But I have to run. I have to get going.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys, for letting me be a part of this second go after the big phone home.
No, anytime, Cristina. You're welcome. The door's always open for you, my lady.
Right back at you. I'll see you guys around.
Yeah, I'll see you.
Bye.
Bye. Max, that's a killer story. You know what? Let's do me a favor, gather the facts. Let's come back and let's talk about it, because I am fascinated from the American aspect as well, because that means if there was American soldiers on there. Yeah. If there was American soldiers on there.
He knows about this.
Yeah, that means that there's paperwork possibly that goes with this case. If we got dates, we got a time. That's funny, man. I've never heard of that story. I mean, of course, we've all heard of Rendlesham.
Yeah, look. Rendlesham was a year later, also a triangle.
Wow,
also a new place. Yeah. Dude, you should go into that. But
that's cool.
But about the Soesterberg case, which is this one, you should really talk to my friends Alex and Bram Rosa, because these are the guys who really investigate it, and I don't want to rain on their parade or
right.
steal their
Well, bring them
thunder.
on. Bring them on. Bring them on. We'll
You
talk.
should bring them on because these are amazing guys. They
well,
are.
Dude, let's get you with the two of them. Let's have a jam.
That's a deal.
You got it. You got it.
That's a deal.
You got it, my dude. I'm so happy you came in today. Let's end it here because that's a good high note to finish on. So do me a favor. Yes, set that up. Just give me a date and time. I'll set up the stream, or you could set up the stream, whichever way you want to do it. We could go on your show. You could come on my show. But let's talk about this because this is fun.
Yeah, it's good you said that because I do want you to come on my show.
Yeah, anytime, dude. This is all about spreading the love, man. You know, so it's not about just my channel. I will definitely go on your show. Definitely, I would love to come on your show. And I got through halfway of your interview with Lou Elizondo.
All right,
and all of this, I never got back to it. So I'm gonna go back and listen to the second half because I want to hear you ask him the question about this because, as I experienced yesterday, you don't let people off the hook when it comes to questions. And I like that about you, dude. I think we need more of that, you know? So I'm not pointing it out because it's a mistake. I'm pointing it out because we need more of it. And it's a good example of how we hold these people to the fire, their feet to the fire anyway.
Yeah. And I was kind of sorry about that because I didn't know it was the right environment, but
it's always the right environment to ask hard questions on this topic. Always, you know, and if you've got the access and you've got the question, ask it. And if you don't think it's answered, I love that you weren't satisfied with it. Can you please answer the question? You know, if we had that in journalism here, there would be a lot less problems, Max, because it's like, you know, a lot of times, especially when it comes to politicians, you'll ask them a question and they'll go on this long diatribe that never answers a question. And nobody ever says, hey, that's great. I'm glad you talked about that. But can you please answer the initial question that I had? It would solve so many issues, dude. So keep it up. Right. Never stop. Never stop.
Right. But I do want to end on this. I do think Louis Elizondo is an exceptionally great man.
I do
and,
too.
You know, he must have sacrificed a lot by doing what he did. And, you know, I don't want to take anything away from that, you know. And we owe so much to him. You know what? What he disclosed might change mankind. You know, this might change everything we know ever existed. So if I busted Louis' balls a little bit, it was out of love.
Yeah, absolutely, and respect. And he knows that. He knows that. What I was going to say is, God, what was I going to say? I had a really profound thought, and then I lost it. That's okay.
It's because I said balls?
No. I was thinking about something about Lou. And I just forgot. But yeah, I mean, he's you know, he doesn't owe us a damn thing. He doesn't owe anybody anything. So the fact that he's gracious with his time as much as he is. Oh, I remember what I was gonna say. There's a lot of Cuban pride in there's not a national pride for me, right? It's because in 100 years it will be a Cuban that opened the door for disclosure or got the ball rolling on the conversation. So that's fun, you know, and then it's also fun to know that as another Cuban, I did something that no one's ever done before in the UFO community. So that's, you know, you got two Cubans leading the way on this UAP disclosure effort. So I just thought that was fun. It doesn't really mean anything, but it is fun.
Eso, hombre.
Eso, hombre. All right, dude. Max, thank you for coming by and hanging out, getting weird with me. I'll see you very soon, dude. Set up the time. I'll be there with bells on.
Okay, brother. Thank you very much.
Dude, the pleasure was mine. Peace. All right, you guys. Man, what a great stream. We had a lot of fun. A lot of great conversations. New interviews being forged, you know, new stories being told. I had never heard about that military base in the Netherlands, or did I say the Netherlands? Man, I screwed it. Was it the Netherlands?
You're dead on.
Okay, cool. I got it right. Okay. So before we get out of here, I want to say thank you to the sponsor, BlueMarlinChronicles.com, purveyors of the world's finest fishing tackle, who everyone by now knows is my dad. So, by the way, we're going to be having Dad on a lot more live streams, so get excited. He's going to be stopping by a lot. And the conversation everyone's really looking forward to is Lou Elizondo Sr. or Lou Elizondo's father, my dad, and me. 4 Cubans, 1 stream. Not sure when it's going to happen, but we're gonna put in the request until the end. So that will be a blast. That's it, you guys. I had a blast being here. I had a lot of fun interacting with you guys. Shawnee, Audrey, Anonymous Rex, Carl Anderson. Let me see who else. Muskoka. There you go. Muskoka Jane. Well, welcome. I'm happy you're here. Anonymous Rex. I said that. Grandmaster Flash, dude. Grandmaster Flash. You're not Grandmaster Flash. That's a rapper. Every time I read your name, I think of Grandmaster Flash. Welcome. Thank you for being here, dude. All of the wonderful guests. Cristina Gomez, Michael Mataluni, Max Moskowitz, Jazz Shaw, Andrew Hall. All of their links are in the description below. Go show them some love. Subscribe to the channel, ring their bell, like the channel, share their channel. And of course, do the same here. We're going to be doing these conversations all the time. We don't plan them. I kind of do these on a whim, and then I ask my friends to come hang out. So we're going to be doing a lot more of this. So thank you guys again. Thank you for coming aboard, getting weird with me here on another episode of the Unidentified Celebrity Review. Until next time, you guys, stay safe out there. Peace. And I got to find the button. It's always this weird thing at the end, isn't it?
Unidentified. Unidentified.